Hello and welcome to Warp Factor Unknown, the podcast where we delve into the world of Star Trek for an unpredictable rewatch and discussion. I'm your host Dan, and joining me today is my co-host Susant, who's got stuck in a turbo lift with Barclay and Wesley.
Hey everyone, glad to be back. Thanks, Ben.
We are not joined by Tom today. Adult lives and all the rest of it sometimes gets in the way. But that's alright, we can power on. Today, we are talking about the Star Trek Discovery episode, Kobayashi Maru, and that's from Season 4, Episode 1. Without Tom doing our amazing synopsis, Susant's going to give it a go. I'm going to give you Susant now.
Do you want me to do it in a really deep voice?
However you want. If you want to go more bogan, go for it.
Okay. I'll try the sexy voice. Not that I have a sexy voice. In the season premiere, Captain Michael Burnham and the USS Discovery crew work to re-establish the Federation's presence in the galaxy, offering aid and diplomacy after the events of the burn. While delivering dilithium to the Alshane, a misunderstanding nearly sparks conflict, but Burnham's quick thinking averts disaster. After a ceremony to reopen Starfleet Academy, a distress call is received from a Federation space station. President Rylak insists on joining. The station has suffered critical system failures, forcing a daring and dangerous evacuation. Tension builds as Burnham's leadership is put under scrutiny, especially by President Rylak, who questions her willingness to accept no-win scenarios, referencing the classic Kobayashi Maru test. Burnham's actions saves lives, but her insistence on risking everything highlights her need to grow as a leader. Elsewhere, Book returns to his homeworld Kwejan, only to witness it being destroyed by an unknown gravitational anomaly.
Excellent. Anyway, today we're talking Discovery, Kobayashi Maru. Now, Son, you actually watched this episode fairly recently because you're doing a rewatch of Discovery. Is that right? Or was it your first watch through Discovery?
Yes, I did watch this fairly recently. I'm working through season 4 of Discovery again. To be honest, I'm giving it a bit of another go, so to speak. There's quite a few things about Discovery that I dislike, or I don't know if maybe dislike's a strong term, but can't quite seem to gel with compared to other treks. However, I do like it overall. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I think that's exactly my thing. It's like Discovery's great. It just doesn't hit the mark as often as I'd like it to. And I can always see it's if I just did it just a little bit like this, how much better it would be, and the potential it's there. But I do like the show, and I like a lot of the characters, and all the actors are great. And I even things like the style, I've actually quite, I won't say fallen in love with, but I do really quite like Discovery as a ship design nowadays. I know I didn't quite like it when it first came out, but it's grown on me. That one has.
Yeah, I agree. It gives science-y type vibes. And I think, I don't know if they'd roadmapped this far ahead, but especially in the later seasons where everything's so high-tech and Discovery's still got that, I don't know, maybe more simplistic pizza cutter look. It sort of sticks out as something that's quite distinct. It's grown on me as well, definitely.
And I actually quite liked season 4. I thought it was a bit slow in places, but I really liked the kind of the resolution. I don't know if you've got to the end of season 4 yet, but I kind of liked the resolution they had to of how they had to interact with these unknown aliens from very far away. I like that. So it was all it was more communication over guns blazing sort of thing.
Yeah, classic Picard vibes almost. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, have you seen the end of season 4?
I can't remember it.
Fine.
But in my rewatch,
I'll try and not spoil it then.
No, it's okay. That's okay. I will get to it. But in my rewatch, I think I'm halfway through.
Oh, okay. So they're probably still figuring out actually what the DMV is.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's the big like thing of this season. Was like this massive gravitational anomaly. They call it DMV. I have no idea what it stands for.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, just like comes and like sucks up big parts of the galaxy. The opening scene. So they're on this planet. Is it Aslan? No, that's a line from
Narnia, isn't it?
Yeah, Narnia. What's he called? Ashlan. No,
Alshane or something. Is it Alshane?
Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, not Aslan. Yeah, that opening on that planet. I kind of liked it, but I kind of really didn't like it. It's very much a kind of scene that you see like in like rom-coms all the time. It's like if they would just talk for like 30 seconds, there would be no movie. Like the couple wouldn't split up and they wouldn't have to get back together. It'd be fine if they would only talk. And this scene felt very much like that. It's like there's a bit of a misunderstanding. No one's listening. No one's talking. It's like, just for goodness sake, this does not have to devolve to gun violence so quickly. But there were some bits in there that I did like. I really like the joke about when Book's talking about his cat and how like she isn't grateful, like that. I like at the very end when they've done the chase through the woods and they've solved the thing. Michael's saved the day, and then they still give them the dilithium, and she says like, we are the Federation. It's what we do. I like that. That's a good little Star Trek-y line. But yeah, but then also the aliens look shit. The angel butterfly people. They look crap.
Yeah, interesting. I'm kind of a bit similar to you. I think when you see it at the very start and, it's doing the funky disconnect thing and it's, through that reprogrammable matter, I think they call it, which I do find very cool. But when it's flying through Discovery and then the bits are, falling off it and then coming back together, and I'm like, I don't really understand the point in that. It just seemed like flourish or special effects flourish, which is cool, but it was odd. I wasn't really sure there was no real point to it.
It's like the ship wasn't reconfiguring to another shape or design. It was just the same.
Yeah. But it is, I do agree that it's very cool. I just wasn't really sure of the purpose in that particular moment. Maybe it's just a cool montage to the opening of the episode. Also, I do wonder what happens to the people. Like that feels like not an easy thing to go through if you're in a ship. Surely there's a bit more bumps and all of that, but it is the 4th century, 25th? I can't remember anymore.
I think it's like 29th.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah,
it's really late.
Yeah,
they jump really far.
Yeah, but I think my big gripe with this was Discovery always does some humor, and I appreciate it, but I do feel the jokes don't quite seem to land. And it's just, I think, as I've said before, it's just something that I've never really gelled with Discovery on that level. Like when Book says he's all being a bit of a smart ass, when they're in that, I guess, fairly tense diplomatic situation. And then he says something along the lines of, "Oh, pretty sure she said possibility and no strings attached, but whatever." It's like not very funny. It's not.
No. And like really, he shouldn't be there. He's not like someone like, I know Saru's on the ship at this point, but somebody else who's like more diplomatic than Book, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think where I differ from you a little bit is I kind of thought the aliens that they offended were kind of cool with their butterfly tech, even though it did seem a bit cheap in a way. But it was, the CG was a bit odd.
Yeah, I didn't mind like them being butterflies. I thought it was quite interesting. It was more, the CG looked a bit crap. It didn't look good, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I did really like, I like so there are these butterfly people, and they can't fly straight because the magnetic poles are shifting on their planet. So they're all out of sync, but they've got this like technology, like space stations, that sort of compensate for that, but they're offline. I like that. I like that. That's a unique problem to this species, that they have this. They have to have this like this array to keep them, flying straight.
Yeah. I had a issue with that. Not the whole sort of initial navigation, the GPS kind of thing, and the alignment or whatever, but it's like when the bots plug back in the dilithium. Sorry, when they grab the dilithium and you see them like plug it back into the satellite, and they kind of just instantly power up. Like, isn't dilithium a material or like an element? Like, it's a lot of sort of
I assume
things
so.
that you
It's
have
some
to
kind
do
of
to it
fuel.
to make it work like that. And this just comes in like this bot just rolls up, plugs this dilithium back. That we don't know how long these things have been offline for, but I think they did indicate they'd been offline for some time, and then everything just works again. There's no repairs outside of what's effectively a battery.
And like we see on screen, there's like, I don't know, dozens of these arrays, but the robot just put a battery into one of them, and the whole system works. It's a bit bollocks.
Yeah, I don't think they thought it, or maybe the writers thought it through very well.
That whole premise, like that, of like trying to fix this array in that kind of like tense diplomatic situation, that could have been a whole episode unto itself.
Great
like,
point.
Squeezed it into a opening.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It'd be a very Star Trek episode as well.
It would be.
Yeah, wow.
Like just a classic TNG kind of thing.
God, that would be a great episode, actually.
I'm telling you, I should be in the writers' room. I should be a producer.
Fuck yeah. I think the other bits that really shit me, going back to that sort of taking the piss of a serious situation, there's a bit where Burnham says, "Oh, do your empathy thing, yo," and he's like, "I don't think they want to connect, yo," and it's also something along those lines, like just being really casual about it, and it just seemed a bit cheap. Like, I can't really ever imagine Troy ever doing something like that, and she's an empath as well.
No, because like TNG, all the other Star Treks, they all have jokes. They all have comedy episodes and more like comedic characters, but they're used less frequently. When there's a serious episode or a serious sort of moment, it's not there. Yeah, but I think you're right. Discovery just sort of like likes to pepper in, and even like beyond this opening scene, throughout the rest of the episode, there are these little jokes and quips and things that they do.
It happens a lot, or at least enough for me to notice it. So but I agree. The conclusion to that mini arc was pretty good. Demonstrated Federation values, their attempts to rebuild the organization, and sort of bring the galaxy closer together and so on. So I think that was pretty good. Annoyed me that the alien didn't say thank you after shooting them and trying to kill them, and then he was just sort of. It's a very American thing. The Americans have never when they never say bye when they hang up the phone.
Well, on TV.
True. That's so true. That's true.
I assume they do in real life.
It's
an entire country of 300 million people who don't say goodbye.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to brand,
I think it's
brand
just like a movie
all of
thing.
you if some of you are listening today.
I had like a thought about the Federation delivering this dilithium, which is great. That's kind of what they do. They're trying to rebuild the galaxy, as it were. However, even though the Federation are very much the good guys and they always have the best interest in a society at heart, there is issue with them being the sole supplier of dilithium. They do have choice about who gets dilithium and who doesn't, how much you get, and there could have been like some really interesting like political discussions and power pools around that, because it is weird that they're the only ones who've got this. I don't know, like if like the Klingons had the only access to dilithium, I feel like it would be portrayed in a much different light.
Yes. Yeah, I picked up on that too. Surely there's a problem, essentially, with like basically a big corp that's like, no, we're peaceful, trust us.
Yeah.
Which we know from Star Trek they are overall, but yeah, it's impossible when you're that big to not have some flaws and have some level of under the table type dealings. Can you remind me on that note though, after the burn, how did they get the dilithium back? Because from memory, all the ships exploded, and then all of the dilithium went inert. But then,
did it go inert?
Well, yeah, I don't know actually. Now you mention it.
So my understanding of it is that yes, every ship exploded, but they could build more, and dilithium and warp drives would still work. They just had basically none of it. How they got it back off that planet that what's his face was on, the guy who screamed. I don't know. I assume they just immediately set up a really big mining operation.
Right. How do they have control of all of it as well?
Well,
like
it's kind of weird because nowhere do they say that dilithium exploded or became inert. I don't think we did on like other planets and like other sources. It's just they found this really big deposit on this planet. I don't know. I honestly, maybe it did all go inert and like the old mines no longer produce dilithium, and now there is only one. I don't know. I don't know. There probably is a
maybe
line
we
or
just
two somewhere.
haven't seen it or can't remember it. But
it's quite likely we're misremembering here. Yeah. But I always found it weird how Star Trek was always very much like, we're very like a post-scarcity society, except for this one resource that we still have to mine out of the ground. And like, I think it's season 5. I think it's season 5 of Discovery. They're obviously, because dilithium is still a very limited resource, the Federation had been like exploring other ways of faster than light travel.
Yeah, like the spore drive. Yeah.
Like the spore drive.
Yeah.
But in season 5 at the beginning, they're like, yeah, no, we've decided not to go down the spore drive route. We're going to explore other technology. You're like, fucking why? It works. It works really well.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, and like Stamets gets a bit like upset that his little spore drive thing isn't getting explored. I don't get it.
Theme song. What do we think?
Oh, theme song. I like the theme song of Discovery, and I like the opening credits. I think we have done this touch on it before in the podcast, but I'll happily go there again. I like it. It's kind of because you have to kind of remember like where this Trek came out in the sort of like the timeline. We'd had Enterprise, and then we have the JJ movies, and then there's this. This was like the first Star Trek we'd had
after years.
Especially the first, like TV show definitely. So it kind of has those like classic original tones of the song, but I quite like it. And I quite like the almost like architectural plans of the opening credits. I kind of like that. It's not overwhelming by any means. It's no next gen with that epic soundtrack from the the motion picture or whatever it is. I don't know. Your thoughts?
I love it. I think at first when I heard it, I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad, but over the seasons, it's really, really grown on me to the point where I don't skip it a lot of the time. Not every time, but a lot of the time. Yeah. I think Next Gen was the only one that I very rarely skipped. Very rarely. And DS9. DS9 as well.
Enterprise.
You never skipped it?
Well, Enterprise one? Nah, that's great. Been a long road. I love that one. Actually, DS9's the one I skip the most. Actually, like I like it. It's great, but it's also very slow.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Especially the first few seasons. You know how they did that thing where they revamped halfway through the series, they
Yeah.
they revamped the intro, the theme song a little bit. Enterprise did it. They
Yeah.
added like a couple drums to it or something.
Yeah.
A bit more bass. I actually really loved in the early days DS9 because it's just like a solo trumpet, pretty much. It felt really like space,
Mhm.
grand space Odyssey kind of
Yeah.
vibes. So yeah, but it's
I mean, even when I do, like, if I'm like watching all of TNG or DS9 or whatever, I'm skipping through opening theme songs.
Hmm.
I make a very conscious point that I will actually watch at least the first one of the season, just for when they do those changes. So I'm like, oh yeah, I like to say. So like when you're watching like TNG, it's like what, every 25 episodes I'll watch one intro sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel like I need to sit through every single one, especially if you're binging it. If you're watching like
That's true. That
two,
is
three
true.
episodes a day,
Yeah.
which I definitely don't do.
I definitely don't do anymore.
I used to. Not anymore, no.
Yeah. But I think I actually might have said this on this podcast before. I used to go down to the when I was single, living in a very very poor student, living by myself. I used to go to the video store, grab like the 7 DVDs for $7 and watch like the whole lot pretty much all night because I had the stamina and the energy to stay up most of the night. So,
Just procrastinating away from not
yeah,
studying.
exactly,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The Kamina or the Kelpian Kamina, the Kelpian homeworld scene.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that bit?
I do. Yes.
Oh my God. It was like watching paint dry.
My only thought about it was it was a, a it was a worse version of the Gungans in Star Wars.
Yeah, I got that too. I got
Like
that.
at least the
Yeah,
Gungan you had Boss NASA, and like he's actually hilarious.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. It was boring.
It was
And like,
downright shit. It's
yeah,
like
like
I
they
was.
call they're having this
Yeah,
little discussion. Oh, should we like look to ourselves, that kind of thing, or should we explore the galaxy and
Yeah.
stuff? And we're like, oh, Saru, what do you think? Obviously, the guy who's from space and from the past, obviously he's going to be like, yes, we should definitely go out into the galaxy and explore. Obvious, like, I've got like a biased opinion over it. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, and the guy, I always forget his name. Screamer.
Yeah, he's not a kid. He's a grown man. But
Yeah,
yeah, whatever.
whatever his voice is so pathetic and annoying and feeble, and I'm like, oh, I know you've been through a lot, man, but just
Yeah.
stop speaking like that. It's like, because yeah, it just really bogs down the pace.
Yeah.
You know.
But they did need a scene to get Saru back into Starfleet.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right, fine. So now I'm going to move us to the Starfleet Academy being reopened. It was nice. It was fun. I liked how there was lots of aliens there. I kind of like that scene. How they were there, these new students. Michael's speech was fine, and they had a motive for this episode where like Michael just didn't trust politicians. And like it sort of starts very early in the episode. Like she doesn't like the idea that the president is giving a speech at the opening of his school. And I'm like, yeah, but that's just I don't know. They obviously had a vibe in mind when they were planning this one, and Michael had to fit into that.
Yeah, okay. I liked that there were a lot of little subtle Easter eggs. Actually, they weren't subtle at all. I take that back. Like the little tribble.
You mean so you mean like Archer Space Dog? I love that one.
Yeah, Archer Space Dock. That was the big one. As a big fan of Enterprise, I was pretty stoked about that. I thought it was cool that Starfleet Academy is reopening after 125 years. That was really weirdly emotive, even though it's a fictional academy.
Yeah.
And I thought, that whole speech was not bad.
Yeah.
And there were other things like, I noticed that there's all of the future tech, but it's funny that coincidentally, obviously, because we're in a much later time, that there's been a step up overall in the CGI in the series, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe not at the start of the episode, as we sort of discussed. But yeah, all of the Fed tech, the cloaking shields and everything like that was really cool. However, I noted, in fact, it annoyed me so much that I counted that there were just like barely any students. There were 18 students at this inauguration, which seemed insane for an entire academy. But then I did wonder, maybe this was shot during COVID, but
Oh, maybe.
yeah, it was like, why would they do that? It just seems, I didn't even think, but then again, they could have CGI'd a crowd, So,
Yeah, we definitely could have.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I also thought, well, if the Academy's been closed for 125 years, the Federation and Starfleet didn't go away. It was just significantly reduced and basically had zero influence. And 125 years is way more than one generation. So how have they been getting staff and crew for the past, all during it? I don't understand.
Well, in the start of like season 3, I remember that was so dead. There was that one really cool guy, the flag holder.
He had so little screen time.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
He
needs his own show. He's great.
He was amazing. He was incredible. And he actually, I think he actually had the most lasting impact on me out of the whole season.
Which is like he's on screen for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, what an incredible actor and character. It was just, yeah. And I did get the vibe that they were just so destroyed in numbers that it sort of, I was trying to justify that number of 18 students. But it still seems like nothing. And you're right. How did they get all these new people? They must have done some level of training, I guess, and some level of recruitment. But then they've been hiding for years as well, so no idea.
No idea. Yeah, I don't really have much more now until like we get to the space station.
I think I have one point. I really like Admiral. Is it Vance? Admiral Vance?
Yes, Vance.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very charismatic. But when President Rylak says, "I'm coming with you," I think my annoyance with this is that it was just such classic Burnham. It was such her immediate response after 3 full seasons was like, nah, I don't want you there. Like, I don't want you to come.
She really gave her a really shitty look.
Yeah, and it's like, has she not learned anything in this entire time? Like, she's now a captain. She's doesn't seem to have any real idea of all of these, any concept of consequences still. Whereas Admiral Vance said very eloquently that a powerful politician and being on the good side of a powerful politician can be a very powerful tool. And it's that response is so much more Starfleet than anything I've ever heard from Burnham.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Like, you just gotta think, if you put literally any other captain from Star Trek in that exact scene, they would all have handled it so much better than Burnham did.
Yep.
Like, none of them would have given glary evil looks. They may have had like reservations, and you probably could have picked up on that, or had like a later scene of it. But yeah, I don't know. You're all right, Burnham. Just be better, Burnham.
Yeah.
I love you, but be better.
I mean, granted, they're very different ranks, but like,
yes,
she's had a pretty good rise overall, and she's done a lot, sure. But she's,
Yes.
But I feel she needs more wisdom to be a proper captain. So,
yeah, I mean, I think we'll sort of come back to this when the president has that conversation with Burnham towards the end of the episode about her assessment of her. So I think maybe we'll touch back on that a bit later because
Sure.
it kind of goes back into that Burnham as a captain kind of conversation. We can go there now if you want.
No.
but,
I think that'd be a nice tie-up.
Fine, we'll try and
Bow
end the
tie.
episode there. No promises, folks. Yeah, we'll see how we get. We might forget all about it.
Might get a really poor dubbed over edit at one point.
Yeah, you really test the limits of my editing skills. Okay, so they get Mr. Driscoll to go visit space station, which is having some issues. So Discovery can whiz there immediately because the spore drive is amazing. And they get there, and I really like the initial, here's this problem, what are we going to do about it? They see the space station, and it's spinning out of control, it's looking a right mess, and the bridge crew are like, oh, this is happening, and Burnham's like, right, yellow alert, let's get into it. I love it. It's really cool. It's like straight down to brass tacks, as it were.
Yeah, it was pretty clever how they sort of sat there and they thought through it very quickly, but they jumped into action. They didn't just leap in, which is actually what I would normally expect of Burnham. So maybe she has improved.
Yeah, immediately for her to go quick, engage tractor beam or something stupid.
Yeah.
I even for this whole segment, I sort of noted that the bridge crew, they're kind of killing it. They're just good at what they're doing, at their job. They're sort of working in sync. And I've often complained quite before about Discovery, but the bridge crew never really seemed like they're there. But this time they did. They felt really part of the episode, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I agree. However, having said that, I've always been somewhat amused by Star Trek pilots. The bit where, what's her name? The Discovery pilot.
Got Detmer or Wushikon? They're the two on the front.
Yeah, Detmer, where they're trying to, she's like, oh, can you match the spinning radial speed of the radial velocity of the station? So, and it's quite funny because I can never really tell if Star Trek pilots actually have any skill because it's just all buttons. It's not like in Top Gun where you've got Tom Cruise using his feet. He's got the joystick and all of that, and hectic spins. It's just like a bunch of button mashing. And then
have you played Star Trek Bridge Crew?
Yes. A long time ago, though. Yes. But
yeah.
Played it with you, actually.
That's quite possible. Piloting the ships in that is actually quite difficult.
It's sort of slow, yeah.
But whenever they go do evasive maneuvers, Beta 7. What does that even mean? You in space? It's I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, or those times where they're like, attack pattern Delta. That was Janeway. And then it's cool. And then it changes the next episode. You're like, well, it looks different from the last attack pattern Delta.
I always loved that in Star Trek when they say do attack pattern or evasive maneuvers, this or that. And especially with evasive maneuvers, and they immediately get hit by a torpedo or something. You're like, well, that didn't fucking work now, did it?
Yep. Yeah, their evasive maneuvers seem terrible. I think, I guess it just feels like button mashing. So yeah, I'm sure they are qualified, but it's just hectic button mashing, which is always amusing. Except I think weirdly, the one that I think does have a lot of skill is probably Data, but it's also, I mean, he's cheating a little bit because he's an android, but you watch his fingers moving like at a literal blur. And that's kind of cool, and it's interesting as well. I know I'm a real TNG simp, but
Aren't we all?
Yeah, but for an android, which doesn't convey emotion, emotion chip aside, Brent Spiner does just this incredible job always of conveying what the audience wants to feel while still maintaining all those sort of android / computerisms, so to speak. So it's pretty amazing, really. But
You know, you're right. Brent Spiner is a great actor, and like I think it takes a certain kind of actor to be able to play that kind of character, and it's the same sort of goes for like actors who play Vulcans on Star Trek too. They have to be able to emote, but only in a very certain way.
Yeah.
I think Tuvok, Tim Russ, I think he does it really well.
Oh, love him.
Yeah.
Love him so much. Anyway.
Okay, right. So we've got who go. It's Tilly and Adira. They go over to the space station to like solve the problem, and they meet Commander Nallis. Was it Nillis?
Actually, I do have one more point. Sorry. Just
No,
on
sorry.
the start, because this is when I hadn't seen Ensign Tile for a while, and they reappeared. I like Ensign Tile.
So you do or you don't?
I do. But I'm still having issues with Discovery humor overall. So I like the series, and as I've said, I very laugh at their jokes, and I know we spoke in the last pod. Sorry. So and I just think that their humor is the same, and I'm not putting this on the character, but I am putting this on the show, that they crack a lot of jokes to be funny and so on, and it's still not quite landing with me. And it seems to be that way for nearly all of the characters. So.
Yeah. I like that Adira has a lot of anxiety and sort of lacks self-confidence. I like that comes across. But I also don't like it. I find it it's not quite cringy, but I don't know, it never quite lands with me. Like that bit on the bridge where they've been said, oh, they're going to go down to the thing, and Burnham goes, oh, are you ready? And Adira is like starts just sort of word vomiting and like motor mouthing about, yes, I'm ready, and I should shut up now and all this kind of stuff. And it doesn't quite, I don't know, it doesn't quite land with me. I don't know if it's quite a joke. Whatever.
I think cringe is a good word for it. I think that's like the perfect word for it. But yeah, it's interesting that we have the same sort of problem with it. I feel like that's kind of the vibe of just Discovery in general with a lot of people. But I don't know if it's humor related or what. Exactly
when the characters work, they work really well, but often they don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we're now taking Adira and Tilly onto the space station.
There was you just reminded me, because I remember I'm trying to replay it through my head and I've got my notes, but there was a scene, like a view find where you saw the detached nacelles on Discovery on this. And do you remember when we spoke in the last pod about how Voyager never really gets any upgrades and looks like a brand new starship when it comes back to Earth with barely any things? Always looking a bit polished. I think seeing detached nacelles again reminded me that Discovery does get upgrades, and it was also very cool.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was me and Tom. I think it was. We spoke, or say we, I spoke at length about the detached aspect of the starships in late Discovery, and how it looks really cool, but makes zero sense.
No, yeah. Like with you there.
I think I was it's like, is it magnets? Whatever it is, it's like there'd be some kind of like power source, or there'd be something. I'm like, that's just another system to go wrong, and a nacelle just to fall off in mid warp. I don't get it.
I'm wondering what the distance could be between them. Like, if they can be really far, why don't you just keep all your good bits back at base, and you've just got like a little pod flying around.
I love that. Just leave your engine
back
at home. Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Anyway, yeah.
I mean, that is what it is, though, isn't it? Like, the nacelles are basically the engine, or the turbines, I guess.
Well, yeah,
and they are kind of separated. So
they obviously have some kind of way to transfer the power from the warp core, which is on the main ship, to the nacelles. So they've got some kind of, I don't know, some kind of power transfer going on there.
Yeah, super high tech Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they've really got good.
HG.
patchy. Yeah.
He's just got it's just flying through like across the Cotswolds or something, and then it gets really patchy, so then a cell falls off.
Yeah, yeah. Because like that would have been a great episode of like a filler episode of like a discovery. It's like, oh no, for the cell fell off.
Why?
We gotta go get it back.
We had to drop down to 6G.
Yeah. I think we actually did on a podcast. I don't know who it was with. We did the episode of Voyager where I think it was with Jacob, where they had to eject the warp core and they had to go back for it. It was a bit. Like they could have done the exact same thing, but they just dropped a couple of nacelles.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then we went back to Saru. I remember that. That was Sukal. That was his name.
That is his name.
Yeah.
Sukal. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah. Boring.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. Nothing happened. It didn't. He's like that whole thing is just to get Saru back into space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Can we go to the space station now? Can
Yes.
we go to
Sorry.
Analysis?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to Commander Analysis with Adira and Tilly. They beam over,
Mm-hmm.
and I do like how they're upside down. I like how the anti-grav is not working properly. I like that.
That was good humor.
Yes.
That was good humor, and that was Trek humor. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like well placed. It's like just sort of before the scene starts, but then there's all get into the business.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be jumping over a bit of this bit because I like Nalis. I like. In fact, okay, I really like that he breaks down towards the end. It's like they're trying to evacuate, which is a little bit later. But I really like that. I think that's great to show that not all people with rank. I think he's a lieutenant. I think he is. Yeah, sure, he's got the skills and competencies, passed all the tests and whatever, but this is beyond him. And yeah, he's having a breakdown. I don't know. Did you ever watch the series Pacific, like the Band of Brothers spin-off?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, it's following American soldiers as they do the island hopping.
Through,
in the Second World War, and there's this really sort of like hard man of a sergeant, like like a classic sergeant you would imagine from like from American military. And one of the episodes, he breaks. He has a breakdown, and he's crying. He has to be taken to the back lines, and all his soldiers around him, they're like, "Oh God, if he can break, what does that mean for us?" And it's a great scene. So I kind of like that, but with Nalis here, I like that we have this guy in power who can't hack it in this situation. So I like that. It was good.
Did it feel a bit sudden to you though?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. Though I suppose maybe sudden to us, but he has. How long has this station been spinning out of control for?
Yeah, and I get that. It's just that it sort of was all understood and was pretty put together. Then all of a sudden, in like the space of about 30 seconds, maybe he kind of fell apart.
Well, no, because when they very first beam on, like Adira goes to do something, and he's like, "No, I'll do that. You go do something. You go do something non-important. I'll do the important thing." So he's already, I guess, shown to be quite highly strung, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe it was just.
But no, you're right. He does when he actually does break. It is quite a sudden break.
Yeah, I wonder if it was very deliberate to. I mean, not so much the breakdown, but the speed at which it happened. It was sort of a way of shoehorning Rylak in being able to talk Commander Nalis down from being an idiot. Like a little sudden, a little forced maybe, but kind of necessary for the episode progression.
No, with Rylak being on the ship, she's there as an observer. So I did find it a little strange that she had access to comms in an active mission. Like, sure, she's a president, but she's also not Starfleet, and she hasn't. I think she said like she used to run freighters with her dad.
Yeah,
but that doesn't give her effectively military experience. So she should not be saying anything in the situation. It's not her realm.
No. Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. Good point.
But I sort of in the same sense, that's happening on the space station. Discovery's trying to do their thing and Burnham. They have to go like clear some debris out the way so they can get to the escape pod. And Burnham's like, I will leave the ship and I will pilot the little droid.
Oh,
shuttle
classic.
I know.
Burnham.
I was like, Burnham, come on, like Star Trek Discovery, the Michael Burnham story coming. Yeah, it really did feel like that.
Yeah.
Now her argument for going was justified. I really like that. Like that's a situation where I feel like the president was right to sort of call her out. I kind of like that. Yeah, I like that. Should the captain be leaving the ship? No. Even though you're the most qualified, doesn't mean there aren't other qualified people who can also do that job.
Yeah. And Rylak questioning Burnham was actually so refreshing to see throughout the episode. Yeah. You're like, oh my god. It's just kind of those times you want to punch Burnham, and then Rylak's like, I'll verbally punch her for you. And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
And it's not that I dislike Burnham.
No, I love Burnham.
Yeah,
she's
it's
great.
just like fucking hell sometimes, so. Oh, and then she stuffs it up as well. Oh no, she doesn't. No, something.
Well, no, she doesn't.
Yeah, no, you're right, she doesn't.
There's a meteor that comes and hits her.
Yeah, you can't really. Yeah, no, definitely didn't stuff that up. What I thought was funny about that though was the slow motion hair flipping scene when the cockpit blew open.
when the shuttle, the glass breaks in the shuttle, yeah.
And I'm like, that's interesting.
It was a bit out of place. That was.
Sure, it might look kind of cool, but like what?
Yeah. Okay, at the very end of the scene, so it was like this. The space station had been destroyed. It was like suddenly some meteors arrived and Burnham's doing her thing. And the crew on the space station, they're evacuating via an escape pod. But it has to make 2 trips, obviously. They can't just, sit on each other's laps. So on the second trip, they're like down to the wire. It's like, it's going to take 5 minutes for a shuttle to get back into the shuttle bay. But we've only got 4 minutes left. Classic, high tension thing. So the escape pod detaches from the space station and it's making its way to Discovery. Shouldn't Discovery reverse a little bit to get closer? You know what I mean? Like, or get a tractor beam to get them, or even at that point, can they not use the transporters? Something to make that process a little bit quicker. Anything.
Yeah, but then there'd be no tension, and then there wouldn't. Good point.
Yeah, I know why they do it. I know why TV does it. We're here to nitpick something.
It's not the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
Millions of ways, but I'm sure they could talk their way out of it as there's disturbance from all those meteors. It's gravitational.
I'm sure.
Throw in some technical terms like flux and distortion and so on.
Yeah.
And
Tachyons, definitely tachyons.
Oh yeah, Hundy P. And then can't transport in these conditions.
Okay, fine. The shuttle gets back to the escape pod gets back to Discovery, but it crashes in the shuttle bay. I love that. I think that's great, and I love that there's an announcement on the ship. It's like all medical staff to the shuttle bay. I like that. It's kind of just like saying like, here's like this big emergency, all hands on deck.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a good way of, I don't know. It felt more. It felt like a real ship-wide emergency, other than just like main cast.
Yeah.
Even though it was only main cast, but still.
Yeah.
It felt that announcement, the ship announcement, felt good. I like that.
Yeah, no, I liked it as well. But then and then Nahlas dies.
He does die.
And then, which was a shame. He sort of he did have his redemption, I guess. But then Rylak and Michael have that chat, and about that. Michael realizes like, so I was being scouted. Yeah, you sneaky person, you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is probably actually one of my favorite bits of the episode, or at least the bit that I think. Or the bit that really added value, in terms of characterization and so on. Rylak's just like, yeah, you're good, but nah, mate, you're just way too reckless to be a new captain on my new ship, which is called Voyager, which is like cool as, but nah, you're not getting the gig. And then,
Yeah.
it's amazing how she's like, you're a wrecking ball, and when we're trying to rebuild society, you need something that's more like a scalpel, something that can sort of operate
Hmm.
with a bit of finesse. And it's like this is going to sound really cheesy, but it's this like it's actually like a brilliant tie back to the title of the episode. And the
Yes,
whole
it is.
point of that test, I don't like saying because I feel like I always get it wrong, the Kobayashi Maru, is that it's meant to demonstrate that test. It's terms like Pyrrhic victory and so on.
Yeah.
So I think that was my favorite bit of the whole episode.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I actually got on it. I love the use of the fake victory phrase. I think that's a great example. That the president is saying to Burnham, "Yeah, you failed the Kobayashi Maru, and you didn't take away the lessons it was supposed to take away.
Yeah,
You even now after having been in Starfleet and now have command, you don't get it.
yeah,
You don't understand." And I love that. And like I agree, the president's right. Michael almost still is not ready for the captain's chair.
yeah.
She cannot make those hard choices.
Even though she is a
And the
captain,
president
which is
says,
ironic, but
yeah, like she has like this, was it pathological desire to save everyone or something like that? And like that isn't a good trait, Burnham. Sometimes you can't save everyone, and when you can't, and when you do fail, you're going to carry that burden and you're going to break.
yeah,
So yeah, president's correct. Burnham's not. Burnham needs to grow more and learn to accept loss.
yeah,
Standout scene.
yeah. It was a great scene,
Mm.
fantastic scene.
Yeah, I don't really have. I guess we could talk a little bit about. We've not spoken at all about Book and what he was doing. There wasn't really too much going on. He went home to. He went home to Quajon.
How dare you? How could you possibly say that after
Well,
someone's planet
he-
explodes? You're like, nothing really happened. Planet explode, lost his entire civilization. He's probably the only one left, but not too much happened.
All right, yeah, fair. Yeah, fine. Before the planet explodes, nothing happens. He goes home. There's a coming of age ceremony.
Yep.
And it's weird. Like it's just him, this other guy, and it's like I think it's like his nephew or
Yeah,
like
it's
anyway, relative.
his brother's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you just see the three of them. So Quajon doesn't feel like an actual society because you only see three people.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a very pretty part of like, I don't know, somewhere in Canada. Because you only ever see that type of forest in the whole of the planet. It's just, those
Which again,
autumn maple
right,
vibes.
yeah, it might have been a COVID thing. Like they just didn't want to have like a large crowd of people.
Yeah.
Because it should have been like a big family event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then yes, his planet does get destroyed. Which that bit does have a fair bit of weight to it. And like it does sort of set up. Oh, okay. This is the disaster we're dealing with this season.
Yeah, this is what do you call it? The GMV or the GVM?
DMV.
DMV.
It's called. Watch me be wrong on that.
DMV. Yeah, no, because when I thought I heard GVM and I'm like, oh yeah, gross vehicle mass, interesting.
Yeah, it was fine. Like it was just an excuse to get Book there, so he can be present when his planet gets destroyed.
I do wonder how his beautiful cat, Grudge, can survive everything that ship goes through. Like whenever there's but whenever there's an explosion, the cat's nowhere to be seen. And it's like, does he like lock it in like a cupboard or something?
You see on like, the news, like when there's like earthquakes or tornadoes, people are always going like rescuing cats and dogs out of trouble and they're fine. Do you know what I mean? Like after like wildfires,
True. Yeah, so, I guess they've got pretty strong survival. Survival instincts. DMA, dark matter.
Oh, DMA
anomaly. So named by Commander Paul Stamets. They're in the 32nd century. There we go.
Oh, 32nd.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
3190.
God, we're way off, aren't we?
Yeah, wow. I got nearly a whole millennium off. Well, I was.
I always liked how they went to the future. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, great. Loved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like season 3 actually. Until we found out what the burn was, and I was like, oh, that was a
Oh,
bit shit.
yeah.
Just some dude,
Yeah, I always
some
loved.
dude with daddy issues.
I always thought Discovery should have started in the future, and like I didn't really gel with it being like a prequel. And I also loved the fact that they were doing. I say loved. I had some issues, but I overall liked the fact they were trying to do almost like a post-apocalyptic story in Star Trek. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think the only other point is maybe that I thought was kind of interesting is that the president seems to be half Cardassian.
Half Cardassian and oh shit, what's it? Yeah, I don't. I want to. I've got somewhere in my mind that she's not human, like she's Bajoran.
Oh, like both
I don't know
halves.
why.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why I think that.
Yeah, cool.
Anyway, yes, I do like that, and the makeup's really good. It's
Yeah,
really subtle.
yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I thought they did that really well.
Okay, right, let's wrap it up. So I'll give some final thoughts on this episode. It's fine. It's good. It's okay. Like I think at the end of the last podcast, you said you remember this one. It was a bit boring. I kind of agree. It's fine, and I think it's a little slow. Not that much happens really, especially for an episode that's like the first episode in the season. It should be a bit more something. I don't know what. Whether that be something more like character development or more action, or I don't know. It was fine. There were some certain parts I liked, certain parts I didn't. It's fine. This episode's fine. It's like not much more to say about it really.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna give it like a solid 5.5 as a rating.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's passable, which sounds really harsh these days.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of a good one overall. The casual humor in dire circumstances would have been good if it was funny. I mean, that is pretty harsh, I guess. The space station rescue, even though there were really cool elements to it, I did feel it was a little bit boring, and they probably could have done something a bit cooler for a season opener. As you pointed out before, like season opener could have been figuring out what had gone wrong with the navigation array for those butterfly aliens. That would have been a great episode. Yeah, like it kind of felt the overall plot though sort of took a back seat for the main event, which was Book's planet. Exploding, and the appearance of the DMA. So maybe that's why they were trying to sort of ramp up to it or something. And the president, I thought was interesting. She sort of gave the vibe that maybe you were kind of meant to dislike her a little bit at the start, but I actually really liked her. Of everyone,
there's a bit of a miss on that part.
Yeah, and of everyone in that episode, she was my favorite character, and how she challenged Michael, and in a way that was pretty refreshing. That was great. And and as you sort of said, she basically said to her face, "You're a bit sick in the head." Like, that's not really on for what you're doing here. And that was pretty cool. And then for Burnham to basically say, "I disagree," but then not really take it as being told you're sick in the head to your face was pretty funny. That probably was quite amusing for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think ending on the destruction of Booker's planet was a good setup for the rest of the season. I don't know. Yeah, it was an okay setup for the rest of the season, I would say. But overall, I think I give it a 6.5, mainly because of the poor humor and the main action event being pretty boring. But then there's a bit of redemption with from President Rylak and her being so upfront with Burnham.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I was just thinking as you were saying that, I was like, oh, if we could rewrite the episode, we could have all the action be on the first planet, and maybe the first planet isn't the butterflies. Maybe it is Book's planet, and they're delivering dilithium to Book's planet, and they have to go through the whole tangle of diplomacy and building up trust, and then at the end it gets destroyed. So there's a whole episode with these people and those characters, and then it gets destroyed.
Yeah,
that adds real weight
that'd be cool.
to a lot of things. Yeah.
It's funny, there's like some people going like, oh, fuck, we just gave all this dilithium, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, let's see what it actually got on IMDb. Ah, okay, well, it gets a 5.9.
Oh. So like bang in the middle of both of us, really.
Yeah, but in the world of IMDb, that is an awful episode.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah.
That's real bad. I'm going to look up when it was shot. I'm really curious now.
Okay, well, while you do that, I'm going to start, because we haven't got Tom with all these, like, ready to go episode selector things. So I'm going to do a quick episode selector spinny thing.
Okay, so it was aired on November 25th, 2021, which usually I assume it takes about a year to make a series, which means that it was probably filmed around late 2020. So yeah, it actually is. I think that's peak COVID, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now to choose another episode. We will watch two-parters. We won't watch whole story arcs. If we get the same episode, we'll go up or down. We can't have the previous selection, so we can't watch Discovery again, and we can't have the same show twice per season, which right now is just Voyager. I've had Voyager twice, so we can't have that or Discovery for our next selection. Now, Son, you're not going to be here for the next one. This is your two and done. It should be Emma next time.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And hopefully we'll have Tom back. So I guess I can't ask you, is there anything you want to see? But is there anything you would like Emma to watch? Someone who's not really watched much Star Trek at all.
The one that I really wanted to see and really wanted to analyze was a Voyager episode, unfortunately, which is all of the holodeck ones where they're in the French Revolution. And sorry, World War II and the French Revolution. That one's like one of my all-time favorite Star Trek episodes.
That is a good episode.
I think because we've banged on about comedy so much in this one and how terrible it was, a great comedic one would be, I think, some of the Ferengi episodes in DS9.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, those were. I think I was howling at some of those.
Actually, I think DS9 probably does some of the best comedy episodes.
I think so, from memory. Yeah, Enterprise didn't really do a great job of it. Did some funny things, but
no, and even did like Voyager. Really had a few.
Oh, Voyager did some for Captain Proton.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. And like TNGs were like very hit or miss.
Yeah, I think it was. Well, I guess Star Trek was, well, not Star Trek, but TNG was kind of, it had been years since they did the original series, so it was kind of the first one of Gene Roddenberry's.
Well, no, they were still making the movies. I think I think I don't know timelines, but I think the last original series movie hadn't come out by the time TNG had started.
Oh, okay, because I think TNG was in 87. When it started,
late 80s. Yeah. So I don't know when the last movie came out.
Okay.
Anyway, I could get a movie. A movie would be good. Okay, fine. Anyway, I'm gonna and spin and see what we get. Perfect.
What have we got?
TNG. We've got TNG.
Okay. TNG. What episode?
Yeah.
Season.
We haven't got an episode yet, so I need to do select a season. Again, Tom's better. He's got much more gravitas when he does this kind of stuff. Anyway, season 1 to 7, we're gonna have season 7.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good start.
Yep. Which I believe me and Emma had actually this before, and I think we had Sub Rosa.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay, there are 26 episodes, so give me a second. I've now got to put in 26.
Fuck, that feels like so many episodes these days.
It does.
But I miss it.
Me too. Because you don't get as much filler anymore.
Yeah. But then when you do get the filler, you really notice it.
Yeah.
Because there's so few filler episodes these days.
Okay, So 26. Like, what kind of episodes are in here? Well, I'm not gonna look. I'm just gonna go. Okay, here we go. Well, in the middle we got 12.
The Pegasus.
Pegasus. Oh, that's the
It's a good episode.
That's the one with like Riker's old captain, isn't it? And like the cloaking device.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
That's a really good
okay,
episode from memory.
Yeah. Riker's former captain boards the Enterprise to retrieve the USS Pegasus. Picard investigates the circumstances of its loss and finds there has been a cover-up. Excellent. Yeah, that was a good episode.
It's peak Troy and Crusher like fanboy time. like that's the one where Crusher's got her new MILF haircut, so everyone's real excited about that.
Okay, well, I'll be sure to talk to Emma about.
It'll be hilarious.
Crusher and Troy look. Yeah, okay.
God, they do look good though. I'm looking at photos right now. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god. No, have you seen the Enterprise final, season 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like this is the episode they go back to and they revisit.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like Riker's on the holodeck.
Terrible, terrible season finale, but
Yeah, terrible. Yeah, totally. But the idea is like he's got this like moral conundrum. He's like, what would Archer do? And this is the conundrum he has. It's like, should he go to Picard and tell him about the Pegasus, or should he not?
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
I'm really
happy with that.
Everyone's hot in this episode. Picard, Troy, Crusher. Maybe not this weird Romulan-looking thing. Worf, Geordi, Data. An unnamed ensign.
Oh, are you planning your little orgy? You can come.
No, it's just so weird to see them so young now, by comparison. Which is weird. Which is how I am used to seeing them, but having seen them so much more recently, definitely. It's No, that'd be a great one.
And I think me and Emma have done I think one TNG episode, and it was Sub Rosa, so not a great one.
The worst one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we did find some very interesting things to talk about, but it was a bad episode. So it'd be nice to show her a good episode of TNG.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, that's it. So, thank you for listening to Warp Factor Unknown. I've been your host, Dan, and I've been joined by my co-host, Susant.
Thanks very much. That was fantastic.
You're welcome. Today, we spoke about the Star Trek Discovery episode, Kobayashi Maru. Join us next time as we take another deep dive into the Star Trek universe, and we discuss the Star Trek Next Generation episode, Pegasus, from Season 7, Episode 12. Until then, thank you for your continued support. If you would like to contact us, drop us an email at warpfactorunknown@outlook.com. Otherwise, likes and shares are always welcome. The music we use for this podcast is called Starfleet Command by Jeff.